guys, it's Rainee Romero with the lovely law firm here for another Carolina Justice Report. I'm here with attorneys Amy Lawrence and Sarah Austin, and today we're chatting all about what a Jane Doe case is. So nice to see you ladies again. I love our little chats. So today, I am curious about this myself because we're chatting about a Jane Doe case and what that means, what that is. So Amy, I know that you deal with these a ton, so I'll start with you. Kind of give me an overview of what is a Jane Doe case.
So we use Jane Doe and John Doe interchangeably. And what it is in cases where we're dealing with victims of usually sexual assault or something extremely intimate, and where we need to create some anonymity for the plaintiff. We petition the court and ask that our client be called Jane Doe or John Doe.
Okay.
And when we do that, that way their name's not spread across, the world and the news and across the court records.
So the court has to approve that?
Yes.
Because everything in the courtroom is supposed to be public record.
Right.
That's so you can go and find out what's happening. The purpose of the public record in the courtroom, the court really reveres that public record, and they want everything that happens there to be public, so you can come and watch jury trials and things like that. And so anything that you file is in the public record. And so when you have really sensitive matters and you have victims of sexual assault or things like that, who don't want to be identified in all those filings. They don't want people to be able to come to their house and ask them questions and those kinds of things.
Sensitive topics.
Right. That's when we would
Very
petition the
sensitive
court.
topics. We're not talking about car wreck cases. We're not talking about slip and falls, dog bites, those kind of things. We're talking about, the most intimate allegations that could ever be brought. And so we petition the court, and 99.9% of the time, the attorneys on the other side agree to it, and consent to it, which is good.
Is there any reason why they would deny that?
Public shaming. We have victim shaming that goes on, and every once in a while we'll get, and we've had that happen in some cases that I have, but
So they want to publicly shame some,
which
is why they'll deny that.
and to try to intimidate them. Yeah, absolutely.
It's sort of like if you're going to bring a claim like this, you need to put your name on it.
Yeah.
That kind of attitude.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Sends me over the edge in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will tell you this: the courts do not take to it, and they don't put up with that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Good.
I mean, in all my years, I've been practicing law almost 15 years, and in all of our Jane and John Doe cases, I mean, I don't think a judge has ever ruled against allowing the anonymity in the Jane Doe, John Doe.
Man,
caption.
I'd love to see you if they did.
Oh,
could you imagine? You guys do not want to see.
I would be like a rabid
Amy
dog.
upset. Yeah, she is great. She's a great person to fight for you. So, as far as court, so just anybody can go and watch court?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
See, I always thought it had to be like, you had to be tied to the case or knew the people or whatever.
And I think that's one of the great things about the system.
It's supposed to be public. That way the public can know about it. The public can get involved in it. You're supposed to know what's going on in your community and in your courtroom because it affects everybody. So it's supposed to be a public place. At the same time, when you're dealing with sensitive matters, it's hard to be public, and it can that fear of the public knowing about what happened to you can keep people from wanting to bring these claims and to hire a lawyer and to get help because they're afraid of being identified.
Well, and we've had that before too, where we've known that someone has been a victim. We've asked, you're connected to this case. Do you want to be involved? And they're like, no, I don't want to rehash that part of my life, right?
Yeah. Prosecuting a case is really hard, especially when it's something traumatic. Sometimes you have to relive it, and it takes a long time, and so.
It goes over years, And when we say that this is a Jane or John Doe case, this doesn't mean that it's a sealed case and no one knows any of the allegations and no one knows any of the information, or people can't go into the courtroom. It's not that.
Right.
It's just that in public filings, we do not refer to the victim, the plaintiff, by their name.
That's so interesting because it's kind of like their name still is out there as far as the court goes and as far as being open to the public and all that good stuff. These are brave individuals that are still having to say who they are and share their story publicly, but then just in all of the records and, news outlets and stuff, then they're more secret.
When we have these cases go to trial, like we just had back-to-back trials in federal Jane Doe trials, civil rights trials in Columbia, at the end of the case, their name is put to the case at the end of it. And one of the things we tell victims all the time, especially those of sexual violence, is that there's something empowering about telling your story, and knowing that people are listening, they care, and they believe you. You know what I mean?
Well, what do you mean by at the end your name's put to it?
So when we go to verdict, at the end of the verdict, the Jane Doe is taken off and the name is put on.
So the name wasn't there in court.
We're Jane Doe up until we get a verdict.
Oh, wow.
And then after the verdict, the name is replaced.
See, I assumed their name was being said in court, just not in files.
Well, their name is being said in court.
Gotcha.
And the good thing about the press, the majority of the press, they don't air those names.
Gotcha.
They refer to them as a Jane Doe, unless they would like to be named. And I think that's great. One of the things that Horry County News does, and Charles Perry, which I adore him because he does this. I think that it's admirable. He will not name a rape victim unless they want to be named, even if they're not anonymous, even if they're not Jane Does, because it just feels like the right thing to do.
Yeah,
is what he said, and I can respect that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are there Jane Doe cases that after, say they win the case, they do want to put their name out there and they change it from a Jane Doe, or is pretty much they all want to stay Jane Doe?
They can change it anytime. It's their voice. It's their choice. And they can do it any way which they want.
This is so interesting to me. The actual term Jane Doe or John Doe, those are just kind of like random plain names to go with these people to signify them,
it's been used throughout history. If there's someone who's, a body is discovered, they're a John Doe or a Jane Doe, if it's a male or a female. And so it gives that anonymity. That way we can't try to tie it back to somebody.
I'd be interested to know where these Doe
names
came from. I wonder if, is it a husband and wife that somebody discovered one time in history or something?
Right. Yeah. 200 years ago.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know where those came from. Were you going to say something, Sarah?
No, I was just going to say there's multiple Jane Does or John Does, and then they just get numbers. So it would be Jane Doe 1, Jane Doe 2.
So in our recent case, it was Jane Doe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Yeah.
Interesting.
If there's the same plaintiff and same set of facts.
It can also work in the reverse, which is not why we're here to talk today, but if you're suing someone and you don't know exactly who that person is yet, you don't know their name, you can list them as a John Doe or a Jane Doe as a defendant, and then through discovery, the hope is that you find out who that person was, and you can amend it and replace it later, but you can still bring an action even if you don't know exactly who was the cause.
No, that's interesting. That's good to know. Do we have, this is kind of a rhetorical question because I know you've been in practice a long time, but have you had a lot of Jane Doe or John Doe cases?
Almost all. I do a lot of sexual assault cases, civil cases, and I've not had one that was not a Jane Doe case.
Oh, wow.
Or a John Doe case. And then you have them quite a bit with like hit and run cases where you have to file suit against.
Yeah, if there was a hit and run, sometimes you'll have the car. We're always trying to figure out who the person was. But there's a lot of tools that you get after you file a lawsuit, like subpoena power. You can send discovery requests and get all this information that will fill in the gaps for you. So when you're hit by an unidentified person, you can still find that insurance policy and you can still figure out what happened.
Okay.
But you have to file the lawsuit to be able to use all those tools. Okay. And that's when you list them as a Jane or John Doe.
Yeah.
Is there any downside to being anonymous like that?
I don't think so. I guess one was, it might be harder to find witnesses because a lot of times when we hear of these cases and they come out as a Jane Doe, especially with sexual assault cases, or a John Doe, what comes with that is that no one really knows their name, and then there might be witnesses to that case that we don't know about. But the good thing is the defendant is named, and we've also had cases, and the reverse works with that because. In this case that we just finished up, all these women came out of the woodwork that nobody knew about and said, I want you to know that this happened to me. Those women are not lying. I know, that particular defendant is calling them a liar on the news. They're not lying. This happened to me. And they would tell us their stories. And there were so many stories. And they didn't want to come forward and be a witness necessarily for court. They would, some of them did, but a lot of them didn't. Because it was just too traumatic to have to bring up, but they wanted that victim, that Jane Doe, to know that they weren't alone and that they were being supported and they were being believed, which I think is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for maybe somebody like that who has had something happen to them, they don't feel comfortable coming forward? Do you kind of feel like it's a personal choice, or do you want to advise them that they should come forward for justice, or what do you say to those people?
It's all different. I do these talks at sororities and college groups and stuff like that, and I tell them all the time, you know, when especially in sexual assault cases, get the rape kit.
And what is that?
Because a lot of times in sexual assault cases, you just want to go home and take a shower and pretend like it didn't happen. And in that moment, that feels like your truth, but you might not feel like that 6 months from now, when you've had some counseling and you've had time to kind of sit and marinate in what has happened to you.
Right.
And it strips you away the voice that you want when you don't go and get the rape kit. And so, but it's different for everybody. And so I recommend, and everybody gets their own choice. And like, that's, a lot of attorneys will push really hard. Like, oh, you know, you need to sue them, you need to do this, you need to, but that's different for everybody. I don't know what that looks like for somebody else. And I can't pressure a victim into doing something they don't want to do. I want them to make a decision for what they want, an educated decision. And then I'll support whatever that is.
Right.
If you want somebody to tell your story, I believe women, and we believe women unless they give us a reason not to, right? And if you want somebody to sit with you and listen to your story and love on you, I'm your girl. We're your girls.
Yep.
I think justice just looks different
for everybody,
every victim, especially of sexual assault. And so sometimes that's a lot of money and they want to take it all the way and they have the courage to do that. And sometimes it's just going to that first hearing and just being heard. And sometimes it's just calling us and having us be like, no, we absolutely believe you.
Yeah.
And so it just,
and that's enough for some. Yeah.
And empathize and say, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, it just depends
deserve
on
better.
the person and what justice looks like for them. I think to be a Jane Doe and to bring that kind of case is the most courageous thing I've ever seen.
100%.
Absolutely, but it's difficult.
Yeah.
And so we're here just to sort of walk them through whatever that justice looks like. I don't think anybody benefits from forcing someone to go to court and bare their soul in front of a bunch of strangers. If that's not what that will make them feel better. So we're just here just to find justice, whatever that looks like.
What I want to clarify, you know, you said somebody has a lot of money and they want to go all the way. What did you mean by that? Does somebody need a lot of money to?
Well,
not have a lot of money, because we don't charge.
If they, if they want to go and pursue a big civil verdict for the wrong that's happened to them.
Gotcha.
And they want to take it all the way to trial, and they're not afraid to just get up there and testify and tell 12 strangers and a judge what happened to them.
Right.
And the news is all there.
Right.
That's what I meant by go all the way,
Gotcha.
because they all, I mean, not everybody has the opportunity to do that, but some do and some choose not to. And so whatever that justice looks like to them is kind of what we're here for, and help them find that.
Love it. I love you guys. I love your stance on all of this. And yeah, I wanted to clarify that just because I know some people don't see lawyers because they think they're gonna have to pay a bunch of money out of pocket right off the bat, which is not, you know, the case for this.
I tell people all the time, don't worry about the money part.
Yeah.
Who cares about the? If anybody knows me, they know I don't care about the money part. It's never about the money, right? It's about the justice part of it. And call us. And even if it's something that we don't do or something we can't help you with necessarily, like it's not a civil case or whatever that may be, or it might not be a civil case, but it's a criminal case. I'll walk you through that process. I'll go with you to the police department, whatever that looks like. But it's not about the money. Don't worry about the money. Who cares about that?
Yeah.
Right.
Just call us and we'll help you.
It's about getting you through it.
Yeah.
I love it. Girl team over here, I love it. Before we go, I want to ask one question, because you mentioned the rape kit a bunch of times, and I want to make sure I understand what is a rape kit.
So if you were sexually assaulted, whether you're a man or a woman, you're taken to the hospital and they give you, they have a rape kit, and what it is, it's a box full of, they take pictures, they take swabs, this is to collect all the physical evidence from your body. They scrape underneath your fingernails, collect your clothes, all these different things that could have DNA on it and physical evidence to help prosecute your
And they give that to every person that goes to the hospital?
They're free. They're part of the police process. And so what I tell women all the time is get the rape kit. I know you want to take a shower and pretend like this never happened, but it will come up.
Gotcha.
It will eventually show its head and you will have to deal with it. And when you finally do that, you have no choice in the matter of whether or not this gets prosecuted or not. And so what I tell women all the time is go get the rape kit and then you can make a decision on whether you want to prosecute that down the road.
Yeah.
But at least you have that choice.
You have that option.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm glad I asked that. Well, thank you both, ladies, for chatting about this today. It's a sensitive subject, but something I think will really help a lot of people. All right, you guys, thanks for joining us today on the Carolina Justice Report. We have new episodes dropping every Tuesday at 2 p.m. You can find us anywhere that you consume your media: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, our website, justiceislovely.com. Of course, we have our podcast as well, which is the audio from these episodes. Thank you so much for watching today. We'll see you next time.
When life gets ugly, justice is lovely.